Okay, boys, welcome back to OJG Sports. Let's talk about the San Antonio Spurs and a trade that they should make, not involving Kevin Durant, not involving Giannis Antetokounmpo, not involving Jaylen Brown, but another star that the Spurs honestly were trying to get an offseason or two ago. The asking price has gone significantly down, and so the Spurs, I think, should be looking to get this guy. Obviously, all the talk about Kevin Durant, Giannis, Jaylen Brown getting traded. I've seen a lot of people say the Spurs should take a swing and get that third star on this team. But the way I see it, the Spurs have De'Aaron Fox, they have Wemby. They'll be good enough with the supporting cast next year to make the play-in at least. I thought they were going to make it last year before Wemby went down, before Fox season got cut short. So the Spurs should look to add depth if they can and good role players, but I don't think they need a Kevin Durant. I don't think they need a Jaylen Brown or a Giannis. And that's obviously agreed by the San Antonio front office because it's been reported that they're not going all in for KD or Giannis or Jaylen Brown. Is that they're fine staying put, drafting Dylan Harper at 2, drafting a big or a wing at 14 presumably, drafting at 39 in the second round, and letting the team build organically and grow up together. But here's a trade idea that I saw the other day, which got me intrigued because the Spurs were connected to this player, and I'll reveal who it is in a second. A couple offseasons ago, it was either last offseason or the year prior, I don't remember. But he signed a big extension with this team, and now he's making a lot of money, and he kind of had an off year this past year, and the Jazz honestly did not do really good at all last year, so it was a disappointment for everyone. That's Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen has been connected to the Spurs ever since his time in Chicago. So back when he was in Chicago and we really hadn't seen that flash yet, the Spurs were connected to him. And now that he's on the Jazz, wait, is he in Chicago or Cleveland? I honestly don't remember. That might be a big gap on me, but regardless, even when he was on the Jazz, people were saying the Spurs should trade for him to pair him with Victor Wembanyama to create another Twin Towers. And so that's what we're going to talk about. I think if the Spurs can get Lauri Markkanen for Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, the number 14 pick, a 2029 first-round pick, and a 2032 first-round pick swap, something along those lines, I think they should take it. And they get to keep the second overall pick. They get to keep De'Aaron Fox, Jeremy Sohan, Stephon Castle, even a guy like Keldon Johnson. And if the Spurs did this, you would have a lineup of something like De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle or Dylan Harper. You would have Julian Champagnie, presumably, at the 3, unless you sign someone else like Jaden McDaniels or Nikhil Walker-Alexander, And then Lauri Markkanen at the 4, Victor at the 5. So I think the Spurs would make this trade if he became available. I don't necessarily think the Jazz are trying to get rid of Lauri Markkanen. It was, I don't know, I really don't remember if it was last year. I think it was last offseason when the Jazz were trying to get rid of Lauri Markkanen, or they were fielding trade offers for him. They were asking for a lot. It was asking for like at least 3 first-round picks and 3 young players, and the Spurs were like, nah, that's too much. And now his trade value has gone down a little bit, I think because of the down year. But again, it's still a good player, a good defender, 7-footer, can move, really good at driving the ball, creating shots for himself, good 3-point shooter. He would be nasty with Victor Wembanyama. Like we think of how nasty Giannis and Wemby would be as a front court, that would be almost as nasty, and it would take you a fraction of the price. But some people disagree and say that the Spurs need to offer way more. So I saw this other trade, mock trade, where the guy suggests that San Antonio would receive Lauri Markkanen and the 5th overall pick by the Jazz, and the Utah Jazz would get Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, Malachi Branham, and the 2nd overall pick. Now, some people might look at that and say, well, that's just a pick swap, very close together, it's the 2nd and 5th, and you're giving up Keldon, Devin, and Malachi. That's cheaper than the other offer because you have to give up 3 overall first-round picks to the Jazz in that scenario. You're still giving up Devin Vassell. Keldon Johnson, Malachi Branham for Harrison Barnes is about equal. In this one, it's interesting because let's say that the Spurs did do this. They would obviously give the rights up to Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper would be more than likely a Utah Jazz at that point. And the Spurs at 5 could draft someone like Ace Bailey, Trey Johnson, or VJ Edgecombe. You would think that would be the pick for the Spurs there. So with the Spurs here, their lineup could look something like De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, someone like Trey Johnson, Lauri Markkanen, Victor Wembanyama. Still really good. Still really, really good. And then you would have, coming off the bench, you would have guys like Champagnie. You would have guys like probably Blake Wesley in this scenario because he would probably be moved up for all the guys that we lost. Jeremy Sohan, Harrison Barnes still. And then you still need a backup big. But because of this scenario, they have the 14th overall pick still. So they could draft a big there. So the only reason I don't like this trade is because you're giving up the 2nd overall pick. And yes, do the Spurs need someone like Trey Johnson more than someone like Dylan Harper? Yes. They need a wing. They need a big. And yes, Dylan Harper is not a great three-point shooter. And yes, we still have De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle and Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson and Blake Wesley and Malachi Branham. We have all these guards, yes. But Dylan Harper, to me, at least in my eyes, and I don't know, I cannot predict the future, just like anyone else trying to predict all these prospects in the NBA draft. My eyes, Dylan Harper is a future all-star. I think he has a 10, 12-plus year career easily because of when you watch him and you watch his film, his knack for the game is so good. Yes, he's not the best shooter right now, especially from 3. But his knack for getting to the rim and splitting a pick and roll, and his combination of size, athleticism, strength, quickness, and the fact that he shoots basically at the rim as well, field goal percentage-wise, as big men do, he is really good. And I've said it prior to the Spurs getting the 2nd overall pick. I think Dylan Harper could be the best player to come from this draft. I see Cooper Flagg as a very safe prospect. I think his floor is really high. Everyone can use someone who can knock down a 3, can pass the ball pretty well, can defend at a high level, can switch and guard multiple positions, who's long, who's big, who's strong, who can score. Anyone can use Cooper Flagg. He does everything so well. And his ceiling is really high too. But I would argue Dylan Harper's ceiling is a little higher, based off what I've seen. And if Dylan Harper can get somewhat of a shot, if he can just shoot slightly below average from three-point land, it is going to be dangerous what's cooking in San Antonio. Because you already have Stephon Castle, the Rookie of the Year. You also have the other Rookie of the Year from the previous year, Victor Wembanyama. You also just got De'Aaron Fox for nothing. You still have guys like Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, Malachi Branham, Blake Wesley, Julian Champagnie. You have a veteran like Harrison Barnes. The only thing this team needs is a wing and a big. If we get Dylan Harper, I'm assuming guys will be pushed down to play wing like Keldon Johnson, and then we'll just need a big at that point, a backup big. So the Spurs are fine. They don't need to trade for someone like Lauri Markkanen. It's true, they don't. They don't need to trade for someone like Kevin Durant, Giannis, Jaylen Brown. They can just stay put, draft Dylan Harper, and sort out the rest. And I'm sure they'll be fine. I know a lot of fans are being impatient, like, Victor is still on his rookie contract. We need to get him help now. We need to do all this. But I think people forget that I really don't think super teams work anymore. And as a testament to the finals right now, 2 teams who are deep 10-man rotations in the Pacers and Thunder. And super teams don't work anymore, in my opinion. We saw what happened with the Suns. Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. If you have no team around them, if you gouge your team out for one player, you have nothing besides the big 3. Same thing with the Brooklyn Nets. And that was like the biggest big 3 you could ever have with Kyrie, James Harden, Kevin Durant. And it almost worked out for them for 1 year, but now look at them. All those guys are gone. And the Nets are probably going to be one of the worst teams next year. I really don't think super teams work anymore. I think the Spurs keep doing what they're doing. And if a guy like Kevin Durant, Lauri Markkanen comes available for the right price, take it. But other than that, stay put, be smart. And I do think the Spurs will be smart about this. and be pretty conservative, because they have been in the past, and the initial reports about the asking price for Kevin Durant and all this stuff, it seems like the Spurs are more than happy of not budging for their price, for their threshold, and staying put and doing what they do. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below about either Lauri Markkanen, the Spurs situation, trading for an all-star like Kevin Durant, Giannis. Let me know if you disagree with what I said in this video or that you agree with. Let me know down in the comment section below. Love to hear from you.